If you're not hitting business goals, it's because you aren't using the process of scientific entrepreneurship. In other words, you're guessing. So no wonder you aren't where you want to be. In this interview, I was asked how successful CEOs differ from unsuccessful ones and how their strategic thinking is different. First step is admitting that you have a problem, and your problem is called chaos. And you caused that chaos because you're the owner of the business, and you have to take responsibility for it and say no more. But there are the vast majority of businesses out there where the owner will never get out of the way. It kind of doesn't matter whose template you follow, but you have to follow a template. And that template has to focus on one's actions and the feedback from those actions. And are you getting closer to the goal on a macro and on a micro level? You're not going to get better by just doing tactic after tactic after tactic. You have to have a framework for saying, the scientific method of I'm going to try these things. I'm going to see what works. And then I'm going to be disciplined about, did this get me closer to the goal or not? And then I will iterate and I'll do it again and again. If they can think that way, then, and that's the minimum amount of strategy they need, but that's all it takes, right? And you can, I've got forms on the CEO workbench. You can fill out, okay, well, what do I want to have happen here? What must be true for this to be successful? And now you have a piece of paper that you've taken, 10 minutes to write down, and you can have this guidance, something to look back to. It's like, oh yeah, this wasn't successful because of this. But if you don't take that time to document it, you're going to have this revisionist history in your head that it didn't work because, and there'll be some narrative that it's not your fault. When in fact it's always your fault. And I'm generally a fan of lowest hanging fruit that makes an actual difference. So the first thing we do is say, what is the KPI that we're trying to move? If this company had one metric that mattered, a single metric for this company, what is it? Is it, for some, it might be EBITDA. For some, it might be the number of recurring subscription customers. For some, it might be mean time to delivery of product. For some, it could be, number of articles produced. What is the one number that is going to move the needle most for the company? Okay, great. Now, how do we align all the pieces around that number? What are all of the things that we could do? And that really just gets rid of a lot of projects that people would otherwise think of focusing on. Because everyone wants to do this sexy new marketing campaign. But very often, that's not the thing. Very often, it's something else that's actually going to drive the one metric that matters. Now that you know you need to carve out time for strategy in the right way, make sure you have time by watching this video on how to free up 20 hours a week for high impact work.